Hi everybody. So I'd like to take the time right now to talk about my project I just finished entitled The American God Posse. It's almost been 2 months since I began recording it, and now that it's finished, I can summarize it, which is what this video is all about. I first posted the first video on February 26th, and today is the 20th of April, so almost 2 months. So I'm going to begin. Bear with me. I'm going to talk a little bit. First and foremost, the project is not my original idea. For those that aren't familiar with American singer-songwriter Tori Amos, she released an album back in 2007 called The American God Posse. It was during the Bush administration, and it was a politically themed album, and she played she played 5 different female characters that were based on Greek goddess archetypes, and then tied that into a political theme. Very similar to what I did with this project. I am using 5 different Greek gods to kind of make a modern day man, and each character is to be as different as possible, yet they're all sort of involved with this event that's happening right now, which nobody can really escape. It's all over the place. Having said that, I did create this project for myself. This project was 100% created for me. Throughout this campaign, when Trump won the presidency in particular, I felt this extreme loss. And I also felt like my voice was silenced. It wasn't fair. I didn't know how to deal with the emotions I was feeling, and so I had a lot of anxiety, much like a lot of other people did. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to have an outlet like this. YouTube is my current form of art, so it meant a lot to me to be able to just pour myself into this project, which I've done. One of my favorite recording artists, Nina Simone, actually, I'll quote her right now. She said back in her day, quote unquote, "You can't help it. An artist solely, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times." That is what I'm trying to do right now with the current administration and all the confusion surrounding that, is to reflect not only my personal experience, but experiences of other people that I'm witnessing online or on Facebook or whatnot. So that's where this project stemmed from. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the characters. The introduction was a character named Brendan. He didn't get an actual introductory video like the other characters did, because I just went right into it with him. This entire project, what prompted me to want to actually go the route I did was I saw a photograph of a protester at an airport. And the young man was, you know, a quote-unquote stereotypical hippie-looking guy, and he was screaming, you know, in the photo, and I understood him. I understood where he was coming from in the photograph, and I created Brendan to kind of mimic what he looked like in a lot of ways. His song, doing honor to Tori, the creator, would be Cornflake Girl. Cornflake Girl is a song about women basically teaming up against women. And in this political theme, I wanted it to be the public teaming up against one another, as we're seeing happening between Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, you know. So Snowflake Boy came about. I wanted to redo the lyrics to fit the project. And anyway, I always envisioned Brendan to be like a liberal activist and a songwriter. And then his archetype would be Dionysus, the god of music and wine. The second character, Damien, is, I guess, my goth boy, which is a reflection of myself from 20 years ago or whatnot. Anyway, I envision him as like a writer and a tortured soul. And his archetype would have been Hades, or is Hades. His introductory video, I didn't really want him to speak much because I didn't think he would actually be a talker. He would be more of a, you know, producer, I guess, and you know, he went right into his song. The Stain song is something that I loved from back in the day, and I tied the lyrics in to kind of fit the political theme of today, when in the end it made sense to me. Third character is Anthony. I envision him to be the youngest of the three characters, which is why his archetype is Apollo, god of the sun. I associate the sun with youth. And I envision him to be like a philosopher. He's definitely a college student, and he is kind of figuring things out on his own as he goes. He was the easiest character for me to reproduce because he's idealistic, and yet he's just as scared and confused as the rest of us. But he has the power to make a great change, which is, you know, a positive that I could have gotten from that character, and that's where I wanted to go with him. The fourth character, which a lot of people were confused on, is Lester. No, I'm not a Trump supporter. And no, I don't believe that all Trump supporters are crazy and frothing at the mouth. However, it was important to include somebody from that side into this project as well, where Lester was born. We've all seen them in videos and at rallies post winning the election, where Trump supporters are a very unique group of people. And I wanted Lester to be blue collar and angry, and he wants the world that he knows to be the world that he thinks he controls back. And his archetype is Ares, the god of war, because in a sense he's fighting his own war as we speak, you know, and he's trapped in this patriotism that he thinks he has, but it's like it's a pseudo patriotism, you know. It's perverse in its own right. His anger dominates any kind of loyalty he could have to this country. Finally, there's Seth, who I envision him as an anarchist and a punk, and his archetype would have been Poseidon, the god of water, because of the constant changing. It just made sense to me to make Poseidon his archetype. Seth is fed up. He doesn't necessarily fall into a Democratic side or a Republican side. He's just sick of the whole thing. And, you know, he believes that basically replace and take over is the only way to make this thing right again. In closing off the characters, I chose the soldier. He doesn't have a name. His name is the soldier. He is army, but he's not. He's in camouflage for a reason. He could fit any branch of the military. I don't really give him a place where he stands politically. What I give him is the opportunity that if things got as scary as people are afraid that they will become, and we do end up going into some sort of World War III scenario, Seth could be anyone, or sorry, not Seth, the soldier could be any one of the characters already previously mentioned. Would a draft concur or something like that? And yet he's waving his flag. Few fun facts on the project. Only 3 characters wave the flag. The first one is Brendan, who is the protester, who is very left. And then the other character to wave the flag throughout the project is Lester, who is very Trump, and I would assume right. And then finally, the soldier waves the flag too. We don't really know where he stands, but he's representing our country after all and fighting for us. Anyhow, I rewrote the majority of the songs I used. I was covering different artists, and I rewrote the lyrics to fit the product a bit, except for the last 2, the Rufus Wainwright song and the Lady Gaga song. I felt they just fit perfectly. There was no need to change anything about them. So yeah, that's basically my project in a nutshell. Also, it was important for me, being that this original concept was conceived by a woman, to begin the project with her. a take on her song, and then to end it with a woman as well, since the other characters are singing songs by males. I wanted it to kind of begin with a woman and end with a woman as far as the original writers go. So yeah, that's that. I'm very proud of this project. I know some people may or not have gotten it. That's fine. This was my way of letting go and moving on, and now being able to go forward with what I feel is happening right now, and how to act on it, and actually be responsible and act out and whatnot. So anyhow, thank you for watching. I'm very, very happy to put this thing to rest. At the same time, it's kind of bittersweet because it's been something I've been involved with for a bit now. So anyhow, thank you for watching again, and I will let you go now. Good night.